Hello and welcome to another writing session. This week I wasn't sure if I was going to do a recording. I've been fairly sick all week, but and now as soon as I start talking, I'm starting to cough. Thankfully this afternoon my voice seems to finally be clearing up and the coughing is a little bit less. So I'm going to give this my best shot and hopefully I don't need to re-record it. So I'm doing the third pass this time. Last time I did a second pass, made some major changes. I generally like to do it on paper so that I can go through, if you can see, and make notes with my trusty red pen. For the most part, I'm happy with the direction the story is going. After this third pass, I'm going to hand it off to a bunch of family and friends and get their feedback. They're going to be my test readers for any final changes, and then I'll go into the final polish. But let me go through really fast with some of the notes that I made, and I'll talk through it. So tonight should be a little bit of a shorter session. All right. So first thing, I pointed this out in previous videos. Instead of towards, I'll do toward. Once more, having the S on the end of forwards, towards, things like that. That's more European, and here in the United States, generally people don't have that, and so I have continually been called out for that, even though when I grew up writing, that's the way I did it growing up. Alright, so there's one thing there. I think I'm mostly good with the rest. The biggest area that I ran into concerns for this third draft was actually on the final page with the confrontation between Adam and his father. Okay, so we're at that spot where Adam was going to bed and then he came back down to try and confront his father to work through this stuff that was concerning him or scaring him. Alright, so come back here. We'll pick it up from here. So now what's this about zombies, son? You said Uncle Solomon was a zombie, said Adam. I did, said Adam's father, but it wasn't meant to be taken literally. But zombies are real, said Adam. If Uncle Solomon isn't a zombie, then why can't I see any of my cousins anymore? Is it my fault? Did I do something wrong again? No, son, you're doing just fine. If anyone in this family's to blame, it would be me. I disagree with a lot of the things your uncle and a few of the other family members have been saying and promoting. In fact, we're at such odds that it's become painful to be around each other, and I don't want you kids to get caught in the middle of the fight. See, Dad, that's what I mean. Is whatever Uncle Solomon caught spreading to Bob, Jeff, and Nancy? Are you worried I'll catch it from them? And then it goes on to, in a way, son, yes, said his father, looking a little ashamed. I don't want you catching any wrong thinking. And then from here on, it was feeling a little too fast-paced, a little too on the nose, and a little too preachy. And I want it to feel a little bit more organic as it's unfolding. And I wrote my notes here, so I apologize I didn't do this live, but for me it's sitting down with a red pen and just thinking through it. And I could have shown that and been talking through, but in this case I didn't. You've been seeing my process. It's very similar to what you've seen and the stuff that I've been talking about in the videos up to now. But it's really just playing it out in my head and going back and forth with what are the words that I want to use? How do I want this to be seen? And it's more about envisioning. So I've got some things here, but I'll try and come up with some more as we're going through. But I want this to be more of a back and forth. I want it to be shorter responses, and where my kids will call me out in big, long paragraphs and be very articulate. They've gotten very good at that. A lot of kids don't, and especially younger children will tend to have shorter answers, and they'll be thinking less about the big picture stuff and more about, like, what does this mean to me? Why does this matter to me? It's more about that self-preservation. That's not every child, that's not all the time, but it's something to be thinking about. So I'm going to start making some changes. So I'm going to add in some dialogue in here. So, in a way, son, yes, said his father, looking a little ashamed. I'm going to set this up to the side here so it's a little easier to... I can't see. When I get sick, my vision gets a little bit worse, so that's why I have to wear my glasses tonight. All right, I don't want you catching any wrong thinking. So he, let's see. So he is sick. All right. And so it's like that point of revelation. Oh, so he is sick. Okay, you don't want me catching this thing. All right. So shouldn't we try to help him get better? Natural response. My kids hear that somebody in the family is sick. How do we help him? Okay. So, let's see. I've tried, son. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how to put this. So, I've tried, son. But he won't listen. So you need to keep him away because he wants to hurt me. Hurt me with them. Said Adam. So yet again, goes to that thing. So let's see. So he is sick. Shouldn't we try help him get better? I've tried, but he won't listen. So you need to keep, like, he's trying to understand, like, how does this relate to me? What is my uncle doing? Why is this such a big deal? Like, where's the problem? All right. Okay. No, son. He doesn't want to hurt you. He loves you kids and would bend over backwards to help you. So at this point, that question put his dad on the defensive. Where it's gone so far down the rabbit hole. It's like, oh, so this is intentional. Like he's not caring anymore. He wants to damage those around him. Like, obviously this is dangerous and he's hurting, so he wants to hurt those people around him. It's like, no, let's back off. No, son, he doesn't want to hurt you. He loves you guys. He'd bend over backwards to help you. He cares. All right. Let's see where I'm going with from here. Actually, I think I'm going to keep this part right here. I'll change it around a little bit. I cut out a couple lines of this purposely. I'm going to get rid of some of the preachiness here. Just trying to think of how. No, I've got... So, yet again, Adam's trying to figure this out. If he doesn't want to hurt us, and he cares about us, then why? But, Dad, said Adam, if he doesn't want to hurt us and he cares about us, then why? Okay. Check my notes again. I had a couple other things written here that I was going to squeeze in. Had more notes here, but I don't think I want to throw them in. Like, what will we catch? I thought people are supposed to have different ideas. You said that the world was more colorful and beautiful because of the differences of people and ideas and cultures. You know, they've been brought up in this very multicultural neighborhood where it's a good thing, where it's a positive thing that you get people with different ideas and viewpoints and, you know, religions and politics and stuff like that, because it brings more, you know, light into your life. You get a lot more viewpoints to learn from and develop. But at the same time, I'm not sure that I want to add. I'll come back to it when I do the read through. So I don't want to add all that stuff. Let's see. I'm going to keep this next part. Actually, well, I mean, Adam's father's brow bunched up tight as he looked at the floor for a moment before responding. You know what, son? I'm gonna change this a little bit here. I screwed up. I've been a hypocrite and have been sending, get my nerd nose push, been sending you kids a messed up message. I'm going to have his dad bring it up. Remember how I told you that that the differences and the people around us were good? Yes. That was the right message. Do our neighbors have different... now I'm going to go too preachy the other way. Yet again, and I'm using one of my naughty phrases by saying it again. I could go back and forth with this. With my children, that's what I do as part of the information, where I will try and say things and I will ask things in the form of a question to have them respond, or try and get them to phrase things back to me so I make sure that they have an understanding of what we're talking about. And so I kind of want to go into that, where it's like, hey, do our neighbors have different beliefs? Yes. Have we talked about how that's important? Yes. Is it great that we have a lot of cultures? Yes. Does that help us to grow? I could do a lot of that back and forth, but I feel like that's going to stagnate this. I think I'm just going to just cut this off here. I do want this part right here. You remember how I told you the difference people around us were good? Yes. Okay, great. That was the right message. Everything else was from me messing, me being human in a bad way. I'm sorry. And I do want him to have that actual apology there. So it's not just that, hey, I screwed up, but I'm sorry to you because this has obviously been hard on you, and I have been doing something in a way that's been hurting you, and I'm just now getting that, so let me apologize. I don't want to just end there, though. Let's see. Adam's dad leaned in and gave him a hug. A hug. I want a moment of levity. It's okay, Dad. I love you. Said Adam through giggles, as his dad had started to tickle him while Adam was trapped in the embrace. Okay. There. Have the bright upside there. Love you too, said his father. Now get to bed. Adam began walking to the stairs, but stopped when he heard the soft lullaby of his mother. I'm not quite sure why it's not happy with giggles. This is where I usually will do a quick check. Let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Yeah, that's giggles. I got it right. Okay. I think that has it. Sorry, I'm starting to feel. Okay. I think that's got the main thing that was bothering me still. So let me read through it. And then if we need to, I'll make a little bit more of a change right now. But otherwise, I'll call this good. And then it'll go to the test readers. And let me come up here, check this out. Okay. The Puff. Jerome's headless corpse rose and began to pursue Esther and Fred. Adam screamed, watching his two friends climb as fast as they could to get away. Tina, Greg, and Shanna moved toward Jerome, trying to stop him. They were more aggressive than Adam had ever seen them before. Only a week ago they were happy and living in peace and harmony. Then the Puff came. Seemingly innocuous, those closest to it began to change. Within a few days, Jonathan was was gone, but his body kept moving, as if controlled by remote. Where he was kind, peaceful, and lived only to make music before, he turned into a creature of nightmares, walking with a will that was not his own, and becoming a host for strange white growths. While the infected became violent, the scariest part was that even without actual contact, the Puff spread. It seemed to Adam that all his little friends would finally fall prey to this fungal form of zombification. Rubbing his eyes, hands shaking, Adam sat straight and backed away from the anthill. Still watching the ants try to fend off what was left of Jerome the cicada's body, he was watching the now familiar Puff escape the fungus on the corpse and land on their carapaces. Esther, Fred, and many others, recognizing the danger, were busy pulling debris to block the entrances to the anthill, leaving the most heroic outside to face their doom. Adam could see his family in the conflict. That would explain things since the Easter egg hunt. The Puff must be getting them, too. Dad said that Uncle Solomon was a mindless and uncaring oaf. Maybe he had become a zombie. I'm going to get rid of that. Sorry, it's bothering me. Adam stood up, walked back from the fence line, and sat down on a chair by the fire pit. He practiced the slow breathing that he had been learning by watching his parents after their stressful interactions lately, and then he looked around. His brow was dripping salt and his shirt was soaked. He would love to go to the pool, but nobody could drive him today. Instead, he watched as Patrick and Michelle, two of the chipmunks that had moved into his backyard last autumn, ran around after each other along the fences and over the garden beds. He could see the hole where Chuck, one of the neighborhood rabbits, had dug before spying Adam and running back over to Mrs. Moncito's more open backyard. "Mom, can I come in to play now?" said Adam at the back door. "No," came his mother's voice. "Get a drink from the hose and go find some friends to play with if you're bored." Adam made a face and said, "Fine," before shutting the door and stomping off. Making sure to shut the side gate behind him, he went down to the stream by the neighborhood garden. On his way, he scared Lydia, Jeff, and the new fawn that he hadn't named yet. "You're not supposed to eat from the garden," called Adam. "Old Man Sumner will get angry again if you do." Adam looked up because of the movement and a noise as a medium-sized something hit the stream, sending up a splash. "Why are you talking to deer?" called Sadhu through splutters. "Why did you fall in the water?" asked Adam, running up to the bank. "Trying to grab a crawdad, and your talking made me lose balance." "You get any yet?" "Look in the bucket," said Sadhu, a jagged grin spreading wide as he stepped out of the water. There were 5 inside. Adam's best record was 3 in one go, and that was using hot dog bits as bait. Sadhu went back to fishing, and Adam took a stick to play with the insect-like crawdads. "I wonder if these will get taken over by the puff too," said Adam. "The what?" asked Sadhu. "The puff," repeated Adam. "The thing that's been turning all the cicadas and ants in my backyard into zombies." "You got zombies?" said Sadhu, moving over to sit by Adam. "So cool! How did you get zombies?" "It's not cool," said Adam. He was horrified at the thought. Sadhu just didn't know. He hadn't seen them. Adam did his best to explain the zombie situation to Sadhu, hoping that Sadhu could understand the horror. Instead, Sadhu got more and more excited, and Adam knew that for the next few weeks they would end up pretending to be zombies. They continued to talk and play until Adam saw his father's car go by on the main road. "Dinner time," called Jennifer, Adam's sister. Adam ran to the sidewalk to head home with her. "You think they'll yell again?" asked Adam. "Maybe." "Has Mom said when you can play with Alice or Aunt Agatha again?" "No," said Jennifer, sighing. When they went inside, Mother was trying to calm down little Benny as he had been fighting off a rash recently. Dad's coat was hung up and he was looking in the open fridge like it was a puzzle that needed to be solved. When the phone rang, everyone jumped like an air raid siren had just gone off. Adam didn't dare move for fear of being noticed. "Darn spam callers," said Adam's father, slamming the phone down and stomping back to the fridge. The mood was electric, and Adam couldn't seem to relax as his neck hair stood up. He slowly took off his shoes and was attempting to sneak to the stairs to get up to his room when his dad walked up behind him and began to shadow every movement that Adam made. Adam turned, and Father remained behind him. He started to speak, but his dad blurted out at the same time, cutting him off. He raised an arm, and his dad's shadow on the wall raised an arm. Adam started to grin, even though he was trying very hard not to. He walked straight up to a wall, turned quickly, and said, "Dad!" "What?" responded Adam's father, mimicking his tone. "Stop being so grumpy and help me cook. You too, Jen." "But I don't wanna," said Adam, semi-flopping. "Me neither," said Jennifer, trying to sneak to the basement. "Too bad," said Father, fully flopping with his tie askew. "I don't want to adult anymore. You two gotta cook the dinner." "Dad," repeated Adam, "stop being a kid." "Don't wanna. I'm gonna be a kid from now on, and you have to go to work and take care of everything." "Yeah," said Mother. "Jennifer, you gotta take care of the baby, and I'm going on a cruise. Adulting sucks." Adam leaned against the wall and started to laugh, partially out of nervous embarrassment as his mother and father began to throw full-size tantrums just the way he and his sister used to. As his father continued well beyond when Mother thought it reasonable to stop, laughter began rising from the family room, which felt wonderful until Benny began crying again. Sorry, just checking something that caught my attention. Okay. All right. Dad, knowing not to press his luck, went back to the kitchen holding Adam's hand, and they set about getting frozen meatballs in the oven while Jennifer got a pot of water boiling on the stove for the noodles. When they sat down to eat, Adam was feeling connected to his family again. Mother was smiling and Dad was asking everyone about their day. Adam brought up Sadu catching 5 crawdads in one go, but didn't say anything about the zombies. As Dad continued asking around the table, and everyone got sillier and sillier with their responses, Adam felt a darkness closing in. He couldn't stop thinking about the headless Jerome, and the more he thought, the more his chest hurt. After dinner came the nightly scripture and prayer, and then getting ready for bed. Adam threw his now-used floss in the trash and was just about to head upstairs as he passed by his father's office. His dad was busy getting his side projects finished up before he could go to sleep for the night. Adam paused for a moment at the door. He felt an impulse to talk to his dad, but the thought of disturbing him made Adam's heart beat faster. He also couldn't quite get his legs to work enough to move him toward his bed. Ignoring the problem seemed worse somehow than what he felt like he needed to do. "Dad," said Adam. "What's up, son?" responded his father. "Is Uncle Solomon a zombie?" "If I've ever met one," said his dad, not looking away from his screen. After another moment, Adam continued toward the staircase. When he put his right foot on the first step, the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at Benny from somewhere up above. When he put his right foot on the first step, the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at Benny from somewhere up above stopped him. I almost want to put a comma there, and I know it's probably not right, but this is why I have proofreaders, to help with the stuff that I'm sometimes not smart enough to get. Adam nearly began crying himself. I don't know. Adam nearly began crying himself. He needed comfort, but not the kind Benny was getting. He needed to understand, but the thoughts were too big for him to handle. Adam sat down and began counting and breathing. He would have to face his dad, really face his dad, if anything was going to change or improve. Sorry, I'm just going to do this really fast and I'll come back. Okay, I apologize I'm stopping so much. He did one more run through the breathing, and with a tight chest and stomach that felt like rolling waves, he walked back to his dad's office. "Dad," said Adam. "What, son?" responded his father, frustration sneaking into his voice. "Are we going to become zombies too now?" "Hope not," said his father. "Otherwise no one else will be there to stop the horde. Now get to bed. I have a lot of projects still due tonight." "But I don't want to be a zombie," said Adam. "It would be terrible. I don't want Mom, Jennifer, or Benny to get their heads eaten. If it's anything like what happened to Jerome, it'll be awful. Why couldn't anyone have stopped Uncle Solomon from catching it? Isn't there anything we can do to help?" Adam's father looked up for the first time during their exchange. He looked long and deep into Adam's eyes, which were starting to fill. Adam blinked under his father's searching gaze and wiped the tears away before they could drip. And I realized I did have that there, with wanting to help. And it is repeated below, but I still think it's probably going to play out better here. So we'll keep going. Okay, he looked long and deep into Adam's eyes, which were starting to fill. Adam blinked under his father's searching gaze and wiped the tears away before they could drip. "Hold on now," said Adam's father. "This isn't going the way I thought the conversation was playing out. I think you need to explain things a little more clearly to me." "Sorry for bothering your work," said Adam, wiping his eyes again. "No need for that," said his father. "This is probably more important. Come in and sit." Adam did as he was told and sat in the little chair in the corner. "Now what's this about zombies, son?" "You said Uncle Solomon was a zombie," said Adam. "I did," said Adam's father, "but it wasn't meant to be taken literally." "But zombies are real," said Adam. "If Uncle Solomon isn't a zombie, then why can't I see any of my cousins anymore? Is it my fault? Did I do something wrong again?" "No, son, you're doing just fine. If anyone in this family is to blame, it would be me. I disagree with a lot of the things your uncle and a few of the other family members have been saying and promoting. In fact, we're at such odds that it's become painful to be around each other, and I don't want you kids to get caught in the middle of the fight." "See, Dad, that's what I mean. Is whatever Uncle Solomon caught spreading to Bob, Jeff, and Nancy? Are you worried I'll catch it from them?" "In a way, son, yes," said his father, looking a little ashamed. I don't want you to catch any wrong thinking." "So he is sick. Shouldn't we try to help him get better?" "I've tried, son, but he won't listen." "So you need to keep him away because he wants to hurt me with them?" said Adam. "No, son, he doesn't want to hurt you. He loves you, kids, and would bend over backwards to help you." "But Dad," said Adam, "if he doesn't want to hurt us and he cares about us, then why?" "Well, I mean..." Adam's father's brow bunched up tight as he looked at the floor for a moment before responding. "You know what, son? I screwed up. I've been a hypocrite and have been sending you kids a messed up message. You remember how I told you that the differences in the people around us were good? Yeah? Or yes? Yeah, I'll keep it yes. That was the right message. Everything else was from me being human in a bad way. I'm sorry. Adam's dad leaned in and gave him a hug. It's okay, Dad. I love you, said Adam through giggles as his dad had started to tickle him while Adam was trapped in the embrace. I love you too, said his father. Now get to bed. Adam began walking to the stairs, but stopped when he heard the soft lullaby from his mother floating down. If he went up now, he would wake up the baby, and he didn't want to get in trouble for that. He would have to wait a few moments until he was sure he could sneak into the room without causing a disturbance. Hello, Solomon? Came his father's voice. I know it's been a bit, but I need to call and apologize. No, it was every bit as much me. I'm sorry. Adam snuck back to the doorway and peeked around the corner. Well, I don't want to get into that again with you. I just want to let you know that I love you, and that I hope we get to see each other again soon, maybe for the upcoming reunion. If it's still on, or else we can catch a game one of these Saturdays. It would be better to talk through anything deeper than that in person anyway. I hope things have been going well for you. Adam pulled away from the doorway. Adam, came his father's voice, I do need you to explain what you meant by zombies are real, but it's past your bedtime, so please stop sneaking around and we can talk in the morning. Good night. Night, Dad, said Adam. His father went back to talking with Uncle Solomon on the phone, and Adam, smiling, tiptoed upstairs to dream about crawfish and zombie bugs. All right, this is feeling a lot better for me now. I do have two final things I wanted to check on it. Excuse me. All right. I was kind of thinking, and I actually had made a little note there about possibly expanding what's going on here with the father's conversation with Solomon. So, no, it's every bit as much as me. I'm sorry. And then some, I know we don't see eye to eye. No, actually, I don't want that now that we've read through it. This is feeling good for me right now. It may come back different after I get some proofreaders, but for right now, this is feeling good. I did have one area I highlighted because anytime I stop being able to know where I should put the commas, it means that the sentence probably isn't flowing as smoothly for me as I think it should. So I'm going to just look at the sentence one last time. So when he put his right foot on the first step, the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at Benny from above somewhere stopped him. And it's not feeling quite right. Here, let me... Adam stopped with his right foot on the first step at the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing. From above. Okay, Adam stopped with his right foot on the first step at the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing Benny from above. Okay. Let me read through this again. Is Uncle Solomon a zombie? Question mark. That would help. Alright. What's up, son? Responded his father. Is Uncle Solomon a zombie? If I've ever met one, said his dad, not looking away from the screen. After another moment, Adam continued toward the staircase. Adam stopped with his right foot on the first. Adam stopped with his right foot on the first step at the sound of Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at Benny from above. I'm still not liking that sentence. do this. Adam stopped with his right foot on the first step. Somewhere above, he could hear from the bedrooms above, he could hear Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at him. Okay, let's try this again. After another moment, Adam continued toward the staircase. Adam stopped with his right foot on the first step. From the bedrooms above, he could hear Benny crying and his mother calmly cooing at him. Adam nearly began crying himself. He needed comfort, but not the kind Benny was getting. Okay, that feels a little better. I'm still not entirely positive or sold on this. I will come back at another... Excuse me again. I apologize for so much coughing tonight. I'll come back at this at another time and see how it feels when I read it fresh again. See if I'm still getting caught up on it. Beyond that, I am going to call this good for now. So I'm going to save this out as a third draft file. And then what I'm going to do is this week I'm going to send it out to family and friends. If there are family and friends here that would like to read through and give me feedback, that would be great. Both for proofreading, but also just for the flow of the story, what's working and what's not working, and just their ideas. So I think that proofreading or getting feedback on any of your projects is invaluable. For a lot of writers, they either do it too early or too late. When it's done too early, the story hasn't even been finished yet. If I had tried handing it off to proofreaders after the first draft, it wouldn't have been in a good place that it would have been functional. I would have had a bunch of people telling me different ways that I should actually write the story and taking it in all sorts of different directions that are not intentional. And so it's important to go through enough passes that I have a solidified story, a clear direction, a good idea of what's happening, and I need to be comfortable with it and understand what's happening. And so for this, I do have that now where it feels clear. I've got the direction. I've been wordsmithing a bit, and it feels like it's at a good place for this. When it's done too late, if I was to continue just doing draft after draft and polishing it and tweaking it and then send it off to a proofreader and then look for feedback, which I have done on a few projects, I still don't always get the timing right where I look at something and it's like, oh wait, I need someone else to read this. I should have had more before or whatever else. If it's done too late, then it's hard to go back and make those changes because you're already kind of locked into what you had. The times where I have had that late feedback, it was very, very painful because they usually caught things that I should have caught much earlier. And I did end up going back to have to rewrite and sometimes even getting additional proofreading done. Thankfully on most of this stuff, I'm getting the timing better as an author. So for this story, this is a good time for me to get the feedback. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought tonight. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post it. I'm going to get feedback. And then with the feedback that I get, we'll come back next week, hopefully, if this schedule works out and I'm all better. And we'll do a pass based on the feedback to try and catch any major changes. And we'll talk through which feedback I listen to and which feedback I not necessarily ignore, but I override because that's part of my job as a creator. It's not just to take all feedback and treat it equally. Some feedback is very important. Like if I see especially feedback that's across multiple people that have given the same feedback, I need to pay especially close attention to that. Sometimes only one person catches something that makes me go, oh, I didn't see it quite in that way. And it's important. Sometimes people will give me feedback that isn't really helping the story. It's their personal viewpoint or opinion, or the way they want to do it I may disagree with. I may look at it and say, hey, that's really that's not working for me. So next week we'll be talking about feedback. Anyway, I'm going long and just rambling now, so I hope you have a good week, and thank you for watching again. Oop, other hand. Bye.